Hello everyone, Lamau Hearthstone here for a video I am very excited about. I don't know about you guys, but my favorite things to do in this game are APM, being rewarded for how fast you can buy and sell things, and making slash discovering new comps to play. I find especially when you're playing in a weird lobby where you don't really know what you're going, or it's a lower power lobby, you can get away with a lot more than you normally could. And yeah, this is a comp that I thought was actually really cool and really strong and feels really powerful. And it's a baller comp. So, first things first, I picked Barov. It's a pretty normal anomaly. I play Barov in a bit of a psycho way, in the sense that I hero power every single turn, because I feel pretty confident in my bets. You can normally tell who's going to win based on MMR, what tier they're on, what heroes they're playing. There's a lot of tells. Um, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But anyways, back to the actual comp, which I am very excited about. It's pretty much the exact same setup as back-to-back. So you run a lot of Cataclysmic Harbingers. End of turn, you get the last Tavern spell you played. And then normally, you would run Drakaris with that. You'd maybe get more of them with Upbeat Duo. And you would print back-to-backs. But another Tavern spell you can do that also scales, not exponentially, but linearly, is Temperature Shift, which is a 4-cost spell. It's on tier 4, and every time you play, you get 2 ballers. Every time you sell a baller, it'll further improve your future ballers, which is great. So you sell for 1 attack, your blue baller will sell for 2 health, and then your red baller will sell for 3 attack. And it gets out of control really fast if you start selling a lot of them. You'll notice in this game I am outstatting almost all my opponents, I believe. And yeah, so it's very easy to set up. I would go for this comp when you have a Harbinger and Temperature Shift. The nice thing too is that Temperature Shift is a great econ spell because you're getting 2 minions every turn that you're selling, which is getting you 2 gold. And so the general idea of the comp is to get as many Temperature Shifts as possible every single turn, as soon as possible. I wouldn't really go for this comp if you're starting it past turn 10-ish is what I would say. Like, you definitely want it sooner than that. I think it's a little too late otherwise because it is an end of turn comp. You can't really... It doesn't have many burst turns. It kind of needs some turns to scale. But it felt really strong in this game, and you'll see too, like, I felt very confident throughout the entire game. But yeah, so what are the benefits of this comp versus back-to-back? Obviously, if you have the setup for back-to-back, why wouldn't you just play back-to-back? Well, the reasons why I think this might be better than back-to-back in certain situations and has a lot of potential is A, you can do both. If you find back-to-back first, then you just play back-to-back. If you find Temperature Shift first, then you can just play Ballers. So that's the nice thing. It kind of gives you 2 outs, because sometimes you have the whole setup, you have the Harbingers, you have the Drukhari, you just don't find back-to-back. If Elementals are in, you have another tier 4 Tavern spell that you can dupe. Also, the biggest strength of this comp is how much money it makes you. You get way more money than back-to-back, because back-to-backs don't make you money. And that makes it way faster to level, way faster to find more Harbingers, more duos. It's a lot easier to get started too, because with back-to-back you really need spell scaling or Belinda to actually win the lobby. You don't need any of that with this comp. At least in my experience here, I got to 3k pretty easily. Never felt like I was behind at all. I think 3k in stats is enough to win most lobbies too. Like, there's very few things that beat that except for maybe like a good dragon build or demons or something. And the other nice thing about it is back-to-back you kind of have to put all your buffs on one unit. And especially early game I find, if you don't want to lose combats, you have to put it all on a Cleave, or you have to put it all on the Ravager, or the Charmwing, or something like that. Like, you have to stack all your eggs in one basket. You're very vulnerable to scam. It's a lot easier to get scammed if you have all your units in one unit, even if you are, like, if you have all your stats in one unit, even if you are beating people stat-wise. And the nice thing about Ballers is they don't care. They buff all the minions on your board. Doesn't matter what type they are, doesn't matter who they are, they just get buffed, which is wonderful because you'll notice I end up buffing what I think are some of the best buff targets in this lobby, which is Deflectobots and a Wildfire Cleave. There's also a lot of cards that actually buff elementals, so I didn't end up running any of them in this build, but I think a way to improve this comp would be if you run the 6-drop elemental, I forget his name, I'll put a picture of him on screen, as well as the early 3-drop and 4-drop elementals that increase the stats your elementals give by either health or attack. Those would be great because they work with ballers, so if you have an attack guy, suddenly your blue ballers will give an attack and a health. Which doesn't seem like much, but when you're playing maybe 20 ballers a turn, it starts to add up pretty quickly. And it works as well with the 6-drop elemental, which is great, so if you can buff the stats of that, then every time you're playing 20 things, you're just getting a huge stat boost as well. That can help stabilize you really quickly if you are playing this comp a little behind or you need the tempo. Those would be excellent units to fit in. Nice thing too about elementals is you can always Divine Shield them with Surprise Elemental, which is very easy to do. And you just stay on 6, you triple into it, it's great, it gives you another triple, very strong. But yeah, other than that, pick trinkets that you would for back-to-back, so like anything that increases your end of turn, anything that lets you copy your warband, anything that gives you some way to duplicate minions, because the goal truly is just to get as many baller spells as possible. I mean, the things you do once you have the baller spells, very minor in the grand scheme of things. Nice to play around, nice to think about, you know, you don't want to lose to scam, but most of the time I would highly recommend to just go for ballers first, figure out the rest afterwards. But yeah, that leads me to my next point of why you would do this. I think it might actually be the strongest elemental comp I've played this season. I like shop buff elementals sometimes. They kind of need a lot of help to be viable though, I find. You need like Rylak in so you can start using the Battlecry minions. You gotta have Belinda so that you can start duping your 4-cost spells. You need to find the 4-cost, the Rylak setup, the Bran, all the other pieces. And even then you're like just as strong as like someone who's played both 6-drop demons. So I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of elementals this season except for this build. This build felt amazing. But yeah, I think it might even be this turn where I get going on it. I find a couple blue shells, and maybe not. But yeah, it's just wonderful. I'm a huge fan of it, and it's also just a lot of fun, like I said. Like, I was giggling when I was playing this comp because I just love playing weird, wacky comps like this. Yeah, here it is. This is the shop that started it all. I saw the Harbinger, and I was like, yeah, baller spell seems pretty great to dupe. And you'll notice too, even in the later rounds, since I have so much money, I'll just buy ballers out of the shop. Like, I don't do it here because I didn't know that I was going ballers just yet, but that is totally something you can do because in the late game they're giving like 100 to your whole board, which is like 600 really. And yeah, this is how it gets started. But you can already see, like, even if I don't end up going for the comp, I'm just making $2 a turn every single turn. And I'm getting stats from them. Like, that is amazing, amazing value. It is one of the best spells to dupe. And that's why I think I like this comp so much, is because it's just a good position to be in anyways. Like, even if you don't end up finding anything else. Like, you don't end up finding a Drukhari or anything. You don't really need to. You can just pivot into another comp. You're not really held on to anything. You just have to keep this one unit on your board that's making you a ton of money. But yeah. I level the 6 here. You honestly don't need to. Like I said, there's very few 6-drops you'd actually want. It's mainly the 5-drops that you're going for, like Drukhari and more Harbingers. Upbeat Duo, like I mentioned earlier. Great card, because this comp really does just try to play as many Harbingers as possible. And Upbeat Duo is a way to guarantee those. But yeah, you'll see here I'm trying to sell the ballers in a way that they buff the units I want to keep. So like, I'm pretty sure I'm keeping almost all of these units. I kind of want the spell scaling. At this point I was still thinking I was maybe going some form of back-to-back, so I was keeping the Geist on my board just in case I wanted the spell scaling. Had I known better, like with how well this comp would do, I would actually freeze this Wildfire here and just call it done. Leaves are just amazing to buff, and yeah, I mean, it's hindsight bias, but I think that would have been the right play. Was freezing this Wildfire for sure. But yeah, I would highly recommend this comp. It's just a lot of fun to play too. I don't know, when do you ever get to play Ballers really? Not very often. I know there is a couple trinkets that work quite well too. There's one that's whenever you play an elemental you get a refresh. That one's probably amazing. There is the temperature shift portrait actually, like I think it's called Baller Portrait literally, where every time that you play, I think it's 2 elementals, you get a temperature shift, something like that. So I'll put a screenshot of it on screen because I've never actually seen the trinket. I was really hoping I got it this game, but yeah, it just felt really strong. And it's just, like I said, a ton of fun to play these weird wacky comps. Like, when you see a board like this, where you've got all the pieces of back-to-back, everyone's assuming your stats are from back-to-back. But if they actually hover over your cards and see that what's buffing your cards is temperature shifts, no one's gonna believe that. It's crazy. Here, obviously, I get quite lucky. Like, I find a lot of the pieces I need, but once again, I've got 4 gold in my hand from just temperature shifts. Like, I think the great thing about this comp is that it does just kind of naturally do it for you. Same with back-to-back. Important not to grief yourself by not playing a temperature shift last. Very easy to do. Thankfully didn't do it this game, but something to be mindful of for sure. I think here I even buy the Drukhari pair just because why not? But you can already see, oh no, not bad at the game, but you can already see that with just this many, I've already got like a really strong board for turn 8. Like leveling to 6, having all these stats. I love that it's an end of turn comp too, because I find sometimes with these in combat scaling comps or comps that need like avenges and whatnot, sometimes you just don't get a strong enough opponent and none of your death rattles happen and you're kind of cooked, or at least you've lost a turn of scaling. This comp is great. It doesn't really care if it's dominating. In fact, it wants to dominate even more if possible, so that your opponents take more damage, and you just keep farming and having a great time. And so now I'm kind of thinking, what do I want for the comp? I run this Belinda on my board because I still think I might be going back to back. Does he know? No. Yeah, I'm just looking for good buff targets now. That's pretty much it. I'm looking for upbeat duo. I'm looking for more harbingers because I'm not quite at that 10 per turn thing just yet. But I'm also just looking for cleaves. I'm looking for anything good. Like if pirates were in, I'd go for a pirate cleave. If Murlocs were in, maybe I'd run the 4-drop Murloc that lets me summon 2 Murlocs from my hand, put a couple of scam Murlocs, Bile Spitters in my hand. That could be really good. Like, the world really is your oyster with this comp. Whatever you think would be the best minion to have on your board is probably the right call. Depends on the lobby too. Like this lobby, obviously mechs and undeads, there's a lot of summons in, so I'm going to want more cleaves. But if it was like a stat lobby, you could lean more into like the Deflectos, you could lean more into the Charm Wing stuff, lean more into the scam. So yeah, I just really wanted to share this with you guys. There's not much else I really want to add. If you guys have any ideas in the comments of how to make this comp better, or just what your thoughts are on this comp, I think it's actually sleeper good. I will be playing this a lot more often in elemental lobbies, because this felt great. I think back-to-back I've been burned by a few too many times now, where I get it and it feels great, and then I lose anyways to scam, and then I'm sad because I'm playing the best comp in the game in theory, but the best comp in the game needs like 15 different pieces and also needs quite a few turns to stack up. Whereas this comp, you just don't need any of that. You don't even need the Belinda. You need no units from tier 6. That's awesome. And so here I'm already, yeah, I end up rolling past a Deflecto and a 6-drop elemental. So once again, hindsight bias. Probably would have gotten those, and now that I know what I know. But you can see it's turn 9, I'm already getting 10-10 on each of these ballers. Like if you think about every temperature shift as selling for 10-10 on your whole board, that's pretty good. That's pretty great. And it's permanent 10-10 too, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, here we go. I think this is the shop where I'm like, okay, maybe I will just run Deflectos. Deflectos are nice. I like buffing them as targets just because they're very good anti-scam, because you can magnetize a ton of summons on them. They're good into other summon comps because they can re-get Divine Shield from each other. if nothing else. And also, they just have, like, they reborn with Divine Shield, they come back with stuff. So, like, in this undead heavy lobby, I know that I'm probably going to want more of the summon stuff, anti-summon stuff, than just, like, pure stats on a cleave or something. So that's why I like buffing Deflectos here. I would only do it if you have, like, 2 Deflectos, because obviously you need one of them to die for the other one to re-get its Divine Shield, but even with just 2, it felt worth it for me at least. And yeah, obviously I got like the perfect trinket for this. Like, this is a ridiculous setup. This is quite overkill. I don't think you need to hit this hard. But honestly, like, it's nothing an upbeat duo can't do either. That's the other nice thing. Like, if I had an upbeat duo a little bit earlier, that would have done exactly what this trinket did, which was Golden Magikari and then copy a few Harbingers. And this is with me wasting money on like Belinda and stuff, not really knowing what I'm doing, being a little clueless. But the more fights I started winning, the more I started realizing, hang on, maybe I don't even need to go back to back. So I just kind of full send it, and it turns out it works great. And I felt enormous the whole time. And here I even see the back to back, and I don't even care. It's too late. I'm good. Don't need it. So yeah, long story short, great alternative to back-to-back. Probably my favorite elemental comp I've played this season. Feels really strong, tons of money. Advantage over back-to-back is that it's easier to get started, less pieces to find, better in the scam, a lot more money, and a lot easier to build. So give it a try if you get the setup. I always like having comps like these where now instead of being locked into just finding back-to-back, you've got a little more wiggle room, you've got some more pivot options. I think that is really healthy for the game's meta as a whole. And yeah, maybe I'll play more elementals this season now that I know that this thing's kicking around. I'll let the rest of the games play. I could gush about this comp forever, but long story short, it's amazing. I love it. I highly recommend. And I love Barov as a hero too. I love betting on people. So this was just a great game for me. This is why we Battleground, you know? Like, this is why I love playing Battlegrounds. And yeah, hopefully this inspires you guys to keep playing the game in unique and new ways and always keeping an eye open for, I don't know, weird strategies like this that sometimes just work great. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this helped. And yeah, great rest of your day.